My name is Merz Lim. My full name is Merz Burgess Panaris Roy Lim. I am a 1.5 generation Filipino American. I was born in Manila, Philippines, but I lived in Cagayan de Oro City. I immigrated here to the state of Texas in '92. Grew up most of my time there, and I currently now work here at the Asian American Cultural Center as the Associate Director for Programs.
What inspired or motivated you to come to the U.S.?
I think for me, it maybe took about 5 years for me to realize what was the whole reason as to why my family immigrated here. And essentially, right, it's about the betterment of the family, but it was more so how my mom is a nurse and how she came about getting a visa here to the States was really in the late 1970s, early 80s, where it was the HIV epidemic here in the United States. And what I come to realize was that no American nurses wanted to deal with these patients, that they wanted to be able to find nurses that could speak English or be able to easily be taught. That the Philippines was one of the major countries that they solicited or asked nurses to be part of. So she was able to put her name in the hat and then got selected and was chosen to come here. And that was really the catalyst as to being able to get the opportunity to live that American dream, right? So I think that my mom realized that she wanted to find a better way to be able to raise her two boys. And she was going to give up anything and everything to be able to make a way to come here to the States.
To bounce off of that, do you feel like you left anything behind?
I think for me, the biggest part that I feel a loss from is knowing full well about my language, my native tongue. Being a Filipino, yes, I speak Bisaya, but that's to a certain extent. When I go back home to the Philippines and talk, the native Cagayanons always know, oh, you must not be around here. Your accent isn't the same, or your form of expression. They pick up so easily on those types of nuances that you share. And I left whenever I was 7, 8 years old. So for me, counting and knowing the days of the months or the days of the week, because that wasn't what I was able to learn.
Are there any family values that you took personally with you when you grew older?
I think for me, it's from what I remember with being a child and being raised by my lola, really was knowing your history, knowing what family is all about for you. I think at the end of the day, that's where it really stems from, is from my lola really always telling me about being good to your mom and being good to your brother. And always knowing that you need to have their back no matter what. One of the things that my mom has really embedded in me growing up is being able to give back in whatever form or fashion that is. Whenever I have the opportunity, whether it's giving funds or providing books or supplies, I am always one to think that that's my first and go-to moment, is that I need to be able to give back to my community as what they have given me. And that to me is the essence as to what it means of being Filipino, knowing that yes, you have this sense of home here, but there's another sense of home that you have that's waiting for you with open arms and wanting to be able to welcome you back whenever you come visit. So
Are there any challenges you feel you faced while you were in America? Were you ever the victim of racism or any other kind of discrimination, or felt out of place?
That was throughout high school and in college, being called a chink, a wetback. Usually a wetback is more towards the Mexican and Latinx community, but I think I have been given those racist remarks left and right, and also being noticed that when I go to a mall back home, being a person of color, and there's not much of being a person of color, being followed by the sales clerk and just making sure that I'm not stealing anything. I felt them and I saw that happen, but I did not do anything to stop them or prevent them from doing it again. I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I did not know how to defend myself. And I think that's where all of that has built up to a lot of self-hate growing up, and not really knowing or being equipped as to like I need to be able to get over these people and not let it be a bother to my day, right? I think for me, looking back now in terms of the hardships that I would face was knowing that when I first attended school and the first day, I was asked about what kind of dog do I eat. And I still remember the person's face, where they sat, how I stood, and for me, I didn't really know how to answer that question or what did that mean. Yeah, so it just really threw me off for a loop that to this day I still haven't really shared that comment with my mom or made her realize that, because I think for me, she was more concerned if I was going to fit in or how I was going to be able to manage first grade, right? At that age, 7 years old, I don't know how anyone could have really navigated that in a way that you are comfortable with your own skin of who you are. And really growing up, I think for me there was a lot of self-hate and really trying to hide who I was, and not really trying to say that, yeah, I'm a proud Filipino, because I didn't want to be made fun of or questioned about the types of food that I eat, or that that I lived a certain way. It wasn't really until my graduate program here at University of Connecticut, where working at the Asian American Cultural Center and under being mentored by Angela, that she really allowed me to dissect what it meant to being Filipino, being American, and then what does that hyphen Filipino American look like to me. So when you ask about where do I lie, I think it depends on where I'm at. If I'm at home in the Philippines, I believe myself that I'm Filipino. If I'm here in this space, I believe that I can be Filipino or Filipino American. If I'm with my family back home in Texas, where it's a mix of white folks and then Filipino folks, then that it tends to be more Filipino American in that aspect, right? But whenever you're asking me to differentiate those two, it just kind of manifests in certain ways of, like, if you're saying Filipino, then most of the time I will be speaking to you in my native tongue. And here, for being Filipino American, it could also be like I could code switch. I could flip to being speaking Bisaya, then Tagalog, and then English all over again, and repeat and recycle, right? And then it also comes with food too. So it just mixes and matches in that way. So. If you're wanting to be able to further explore your identity, your culture, and whatever means that is, I think the first and foremost and easiest way for you to do that is finding an organization or a group of other people that are like-minded and that you feel comfortable with, that you don't have to present a certain self, but you are comfortable with your own skin. And I think just allowing those group of people to be part of your family, your community. And I think through there, I think they will in turn be able to bring that out in you as to what you are passionate about, wanting to learn about. But really, I think it really starts with not being afraid. And you shouldn't be afraid of that, to put yourself out there, because one day someone's going to come in your footsteps and asking you, can I learn something from you? And you want to be able to give back to that same person and say, hey, I want you to pay it forward to the next person that will come into your life asking about what your culture is about. And you need to be able to step up to the plate and feel comfortable about doing that.